as I pulled into the parking lot again, I saw these big guys in the parking lot, and I go inside of the atelier and I see more big guys, and I look over and Beyonce's like, "Hi, I've been waiting for you," and I'm like, "Oh my
Oh
God."
my
I
gosh.
know. And I apologized, and she was amazing. And she stayed like another 2 hours, and we just like ordered a bunch of clothes.
Great. Hey everybody, and welcome back to The Tea with Mon Amie. In today's episode, I got to chat with Mark Zunino and Breanna Rae Murillo of Mark Zunino. If you are a pop culture junkie like me, you will surely recognize Mark Zunino's name due to his star-studded client list. I absolutely loved learning more about their exciting and always beautiful world in fashion, and I just know you will too. So let's get to it. Welcome, Mark and Breanna. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Go ahead, Breanna.
Well, my name is Breanna, and I am Mark Zunino's Bridal Account Executive. I've been working for you for about 3.5 years now, and he's the best.
Oh, where'd you go? She has to say that.
I was made to say that.
And my name is Mark Zunino, and I am a fashion designer, and I've been a fashion designer for many, many years, kind of all over the place, from bridal to Hollywood red carpet to music industry people to everything.
Yeah.
So I kind of do it all from A to Z.
Yes, definitely. So tell us how you came to be Mark Zunino.
I was studying architecture, so I was wanting to be an architect.
Yes.
So that's how that all started.
Yes.
And I went to school at Pepperdine in Malibu, so that's what pulled me to Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of big, long story short, through my series of classes, I had a series of illustration courses. One had to be fashion. I took one course. The year later, that instructor said somebody is looking for an assistant. I want to recommend you. And it happened to be for Nolan Miller, who was a big Hollywood designer, and Aaron Spelling was a producer and all these hit television shows. I ended up getting the job. So I thought I'll do this for a year, and literally it took my life away. I ended up partnering with Nolan and then taking over the company and just growing it. So I went from architecture to fashion, and I've never looked back.
Yeah. So that was your start, was how you got initially into the fashion industry was through Nolan, you said?
Nolan Miller. But
Yes.
what happened for me that now I am grateful, at the time I never knew, was that at that time we were working for like Elizabeth Taylor, Sophia Loren, like all these iconic people.
Yes.
Which allowed me to enter at that A-list level.
Mm-hmm.
Had I set out to do this on my own, it never would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
because by being at that level over time, as I partnered, took over the company, then we, you get Julia Roberts, you get Beyonce, you get Angelina Jolie, like everybody kept coming because I was already at that level.
Yes.
Which I never realized that at the time. I
Yes.
really took that for granted. And that is the single key that sustained our company and at the level that we continue to work at. It was by the grace of God. So,
Yes, that's amazing. Because I know when you Google Mark Zunino, and you see all of these, celebrities and,
yeah, and it's been amazing too. And I learned a lot from Nolan about the good and the bad about it. So that's why periodically I pump the brakes. So I will be doing, film or television actresses, but then I stopped doing music performers. So because once you get labeled a costumer, it's really hard to wash that off.
Yes.
And even in bridal, then everybody's always like, oh, it's too flashy. It's too this, even if it's not, because they affiliate it with, so over time, I jump in of doing Jennifer Lopez and Mariah and Britney, and then I jump out from doing it.
Yes.
So I do it sparingly enough to, have the opportunity to do it.
Yes.
But not get labeled that. So, but that's also what's, I think, helped us work with brides, because to me, working with brides is so similar to working with the actresses. The red
Really?
carpet. I mean, it's practically identical because it's their big day. They need to look the best from every angle.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the world stops when they hit, going down the aisle or they hit that red carpet.
Yes.
So it's pretty similar. So it's been an easy transition.
Yeah.
Stay into bridal.
Wow. Okay. So where are you from originally? Are you from California originally?
Yes, I'm originally from San Francisco.
Oh, from the Bay.
Yeah, which is like a whole nother state.
Yes.
It's very conservative, very different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I grew up. And so when I came down to Pepperdine, I didn't want to because my parents picked the school for me.
Mm-hmm.
And because your parents pick it, I'm like, ugh, I don't want
Yes,
to go there.
of course.
And I got there and it's in Malibu. And I'm like, okay, what's the catch?
Uh-huh.
And I ended up loving
That
it.
sounds terrible.
I know. I mean, you think, what's wrong? Why are you sending me here? And I ended up loving it. So I went to school there for 5 years, and then I lived in Malibu for 8 years.
Yeah.
And it's a very California way of living.
100%.
And so that is what I really gelled with. So even though our clients are basically global, we work all over the world, but coming home to California, to LA, to the coastline is the most relaxing thing for me.
It is so beautiful, especially in Malibu. That's like, It's so funny to me. You're like, oh, mom, dad.
I
Like,
know.
I don't want to go to the beach to go to school. I was trying to go to the Midwest.
It's so funny. And the funny thing is at Pepperdine, for every student, it's mandatory PE the first 2 years. You have to take
Stop.
PE, which I'm like, this is like high school. But PE was like sailing, scuba diving,
Stop.
golf,
Surfing.
Then it was horseback riding, Western and English. And so you learn so much. And the first time my parents came to visit, they were like, this is more like a country club than a school. And I'm like, well, you sent me here. And, but it's also, it's a small school. It's a very affluent school. The student body is very global.
Yes.
So fashion is everything. Like the girls literally change 3 times a day. And
Wow.
which initially I thought was kind of silly, but then it was a big fashion competition and I was aware of it. So my mom was really into fashion, and I think that's where a lot of this first rubbed off. And then when I went to Pepperdine, it solidified what I was doing. And then also when I started working for Nolan 100 years ago, there was a show called Dynasty, which was a big television show. And Pepperdine epitomized in the 80s that show Dynasty. So that's why I think I ended up getting the job with Nolan and Aaron Spelling, because I understood the aesthetic, I understood the look, and that's where I started.
Wow. So that architecture background, how did you finish with the architecture?
Yeah, so I have my degree, but the one thing that I believe for anybody, if you're creative, design is design. It's all about proportion and balance, and so whether it's architecture, whether you're designing furniture, whether it's fashion, painting, whatever. It's all the same concept. So that's why I think for anybody, do not limit yourself by a description because you can blur those lines and it works. Because the one thing for me was when I was switching gears, my dad said, no, he said, we just paid for this education in architecture and you're not going to throw it away. And I had to explain, I'm not throwing it away. I'm just, reformulating what it is that I've learned.
Yes.
And it actually made me so much more well-rounded. And then as I got into it, I realized, iconic designers like, like Giorgio Armani, like all of them started in architecture. They were all architects first. And so it gives you a different eye. So that's why with our clothes, and especially with bridal, it's all about the construction, working from the inside out. And that's where I learned that, because I get, bigger girls that are like, I can't wear strapless. I want to, but I can't. I'm like, yes, you can.
Yes.
And it's all about the inner structure. And that's usually where, a lot of designers don't start because they don't really think it's necessary. They don't understand. Any girl, if you can reshape her body a little bit, the outside can be the simplest sheath, but when her body looks better, that's where she wants to go, that direction.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm like, you can really achieve a more simplistic look that is really wow, that's very understated by just reshaping the body a little bit.
Yes.
And that's kind of the key to what we do.
Yes.
And kind of going back to the Hollywood thing, we really are very somewhat subdued and toned down compared to what people think, our collection was going to be.
Yes.
It's much more understated.
Yes. And it's really beautiful. And I think that's always one note that brides take away from it is they're like, oh my gosh, like this is the way that this is fitting, the structure of this.
Yeah. And that's where because, the majority of what I'm known for, because it gets all the attention, is dressing celebrities on the red carpet. But literally, they have to have the confidence of knowing they're going to look good from every angle. Because if a photographer takes that one bad shot, that's the bad shot that's going to be in every magazine. And then the actress wants to kill me.
Yes.
So that's why we have to make sure you look good from every angle all the way around. And the same thing with the bride. You walk down that aisle, the eyes are on you, front, back, side.
Exactly.
Continually. Photographs are being taken nonstop. So you have to know you look good. You don't have to worry about it.
Yes. And I feel like it can also threaten the integrity of your design as well. Because it's if you see somebody at the wrong angle, then you can be like, that's a terrible dress. But it's not even that. It's just that you missed the angle. Yeah. But if you're making sure that you're perfecting that look from all those angles, then...
And then it works out. And there's always, when a girl puts on the right dress, it clicks. She knows it. She just reacts differently, moves differently. She knows. I'm in the zone now.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Well, great. Okay. So what about you, Breanna? How did you get your start?
Well, I actually started as a bridal consultant for Nordstrom a million years ago. And one day I decided to move to New York City without a job, without an apartment. My parents thought I was nuts. And within a week, I got a job at a bridal salon and was on a little television show called Say Yes to the Dress, where I met Mark Zunino. And I feel like the rest is history. He whisked me away back to California.
when I would be doing trunk shows, and I was exclusive with Kleinfeld for a while, and I saw Breanna, and I'm like, oh my God, you are perfect to work for us, because she was different as a consultant, wasn't a typical consultant. She listened more. She was in tune with the bride. She understood what the bride wanted, and I'm like, yep. So we snatched her and dragged her back.
Once again, darn it. You had to come back here to the beach.
Back to beautiful California, right?
So what do you think, in your opinion, sets Mark apart from other designers after you've been working for him for a while?
I know. I have to be careful not to say anything that might make him very upset with me after this. For me, I think what sets him apart is that he has this incredible ability to just evolve with whatever comes his way. So whether it's an exciting opportunity with a client or a crazy, terrible obstacle like this pandemic that we're all going through, just to work alongside someone who has achieved so much success and has the amazing reputation that he does have. He comes into work every day with no ego. Most days, no. No ego and eagerness to collaborate with everybody, and just kind of a fearlessness to try something new. And I think it's pretty inspiring to be next to you and always see how much you're working on yourself professionally and personally.
Well, thanks. We have a good group of people that work together, and the one thing that I've learned, how I became a designer, it's never about me. It's about the person I'm working with. It's about the celebrity, the bride, the whoever. It's about them. And so you always need to remove your ego, your everything, because even if we design a dress that we think is amazing, if the client doesn't, then the client doesn't. And you change it, you rip it apart, you do whatever you need to make the client happy. So you have to be able to, check your ego at the door. And then I also just learned that, the progression of fashion never changes. It's always in motion, always. And you have to be fluid and roll with it. And it's a collaboration. So it's a collaboration with the client that we're working with. It's a collaboration with the team members, that we're working with. Everybody's involved. And so it's funny because initially when someone's new, and I'll say, tell me your opinion. If you think something's ugly, tell me, ooh, that's ugly. But initially everyone's afraid to say that because they don't want to get me upset. And then, like, with Breanna, I'd be like, ooh, isn't this beautiful? Do you like this? Uh-huh. But she doesn't say anything. I'm like, do you like it? And she just smiles. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I do not like that at all. So I'm like, okay. So, like, what are we going to do to change it?
I feel like I'm never afraid to tell him how I'm feeling.
You've got to be able to check yourself. But the things that turn out best are the things that evolve. From the initial sketch, it may have an evolution where it turns into something completely else, but it's an amazing dress, gown, whatever it is. And those are the things that are the most fun. And it makes everybody in the team a part of the finished product.
Yes.
So everybody has the satisfaction of knowing they had their fingers in it.
Yeah, which is definitely rewarding, I think. Yeah. That's the best part about working. And I can say, too, here, it's a very similar feeling. It's not, obviously, it's not, designer, but, like, just the environment of, like, feeling like you get to be a part of it.
It's creative. They're asking your opinion.
It makes you feel valued, and when you have a team that feels valued, I feel like that only just boosts your success because they want to go just as hard for you as you're going for them.
For any career, for anybody, the biggest gift, talent you can have is to listen, which so many people can't. They don't listen, they don't hear. Like, you don't hear what the client just said. Listen. They're giving you all the cues of what you need to do.
Yes.
And so that's why I think we have a really good team together. It's also why we love you guys here.
Thank you so much.
It immediately felt like family.
Right. I mean, everyone's just so relaxed and just willing to do good work together to make the best result for everyone.
Exactly. So that's great. Okay. So what does your typical day look like? What are you doing day to day?
Well, lately, since this whole virus, we've really learned to be really flexible. We always were flexible. But, with us, we can get, a call from, Breanna will text me in the morning. I just got a call from a bride in Scotland, needs a dress immediately. This is what she wants, and so we immediately, send a measurement chart, have a fitter take measurements there. She won't be able to come here, or she's only going to come here once for a fitting. All the way through, recently it was dealing with the Amies that just were virtual. So everybody stumbled through that, but it was like sending dresses out for that. But, it's new. It's a new form of production. So nobody really knows how it's going to turn out. So no 2 days are ever alike. And just knowing, to be flexible. We've had some people in our business, teammates that can't switch gears like that. They are very, checklist oriented, don't disrupt my day. And we're like, it's not going to work here because halfway through the day, something can turn your day upside down and you have to be able to roll with it.
Yeah, of course. It's such uncertain times right now. Yeah. And you don't know how things are going to go. The virtual Emmys were crazy to me. I was like, what is happening?
I know. It was totally different. I'm still not sure how I feel about it all. And I was like, okay. And I give them kudos for trying it in a completely unusual, different format. However, with everything going on, I do think everyone is going to land in a better place. I think that we are learning to be the best that we can be. We're learning how to, forge new paths and think outside the box. And, the whole survival of the fittest is exciting. I mean, if you need to make a change, now's the time to do it.
Yes.
So you really have to get on the train or just wave goodbye.
It gives people a chance to reset, I think, too. It gives people a chance to realign themselves with what they want to do, with their goals, And
I think, too, it's starting to make people more compassionate. I think it's really pulled families together more. I see there's a real good side to all of this. People are starting to appreciate their friendships more. Yeah. Even just as, our team that works together, it really pulled the core group together. And we were like, we are in this with each other no matter what.
Yes.
And that was our first strength of like, okay, let's keep going. Let's change what we need to change and
move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you say are some of your biggest creative influences?
it sounds so cliche, but I get influenced by everything. So it can be fabric. We look at fabric collections from around the world constantly. So that can inspire me. Colors, like Breanna and I travel around, we can be in the airport and just watching people go back and forth, Oh my God, that's a good neckline on her for that type of body. This is a great, look, and how to incorporate that into whatever kind of design we are thinking of. And then our team, we have little brainstorming periods where everybody will kick around ideas, or everyone's always tearing tear sheets out of magazines. I love this top, that bottom, or this dress was almost there. The designer missed the mark, whatever. And we discuss and come up with concepts all the time. And as a designer too, that's one of the things I've learned most, was not to live inside my head, to be a sponge and absorb everybody around me, because I think it's a kiss of death when in my head I only see how I think fashion should be, and I think it's a really isolated, scary place to work from. I think you have to really keep an open mind in order to stay truly creative. So I have a good group of people that keep me in check all the time.
Happy to be there for you.
Now I'm interested, because hearing you say that about, how you're kind of, your eye is there all the time. I have this like theory kind of with creatives, where I feel like they're honestly just a whole different kind of people. But I feel like when you're creative, your mind is always running. And I don't feel like you can train your mind to be like that. I feel like it's just something you have.
I do agree. And because I have friends that are not creative, and we are like oil and water. I love them to death, but literally, I do not understand the way they think. And they do not understand the way I think. And it can get frustrating, but it is just the way it is. And so that's where, too, like, I can see, because we have an amazing internship program. So we have interns of all ages. And you'll find someone that is creative, that is trying not to be, wants to be, or their family, their parents are pushing them to be more number crunching or whatever. And they're just not. They're creative. And vice versa. You see people that so desperately want to be creative and they just aren't.
Yes.
And you just want to, you feel so bad. It's like me trying to play the piano. It's never going to happen. I took lessons. My sister was amazing. And my instructor told my mom, "You are wasting your money on him.
Yes.
Tell him to stop." And I just, so you just have to be able to call it.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where it differs, is it's not, I think people get this idea that if you're not creative, like for some reason you're less than, you're not. And I don't think that is how it is at all, but I think that you can't force the creativity. Like, I feel like if you're going to be in a creative field, you truly have to your mind has to think that way. You have to be able to look at something and imagine how you would, create something else out of it,
Or you have to understand that and be able to, which is hard, but I believe it can happen, is, you to train yourself to be creative in your way. So, and that's like, because I've talked to people that are, accountants, bookkeepers and stuff, like, oh my God, I'm the most uncreative person. But then I start talking with them, and I'm like, you're not, because you can find a way how to get, to Z that, 90% of the other accountants couldn't see how to get there. It is creative. And then once they realize, I really am creative, the way my approach to numbers and accounting or whatever. So, don't be too creative so you don't end up in jail. But you can be like, even, if you are a mechanic working on engines or whatever, like, there is creativity to so many things. It just depends on your approach.
Definitely. So what is your process in creating your pieces? What is start to finish? How does that go?
However I get influenced, most of it starts with sketching. I sketch nonstop. And for me, because not every designer sketches, but I would die if I couldn't sketch. That's like the easiest way to express what's in my head on paper. And then from there, it's a visual that everybody gets on the same page. They see it, so then we can start talking about it. Change this, whatever, drop that neckline, lower, raise the collar, whatever. And we start doing things to it, but we're all working from visual. because describing something, everyone's visual is different in their head. And so that's where it's trying to pull everybody onto the same page is my number one priority in working on anything. Even a collection, like even we have every piece in a collection, but then when we merchandise and streamline the collection is really when everybody like will start. There'll be dresses that I love that half of everybody hates, and then a dress that I'm like, ooh, we're throwing that thing out, and they're like, everybody loves it, and that's where I'm like, okay, let's try it, let's see. But Breanna knows this happens all the time.
That's true. I mean, I have to make sure that your collection is also very sellable. So
Yes.
I mean, I love one of a kind artistic thing. I don't care if nobody ever buys it. I'm just like, ooh, it's pretty.
Just to look at,
And Brianna's like, it needs to sell.
that's all I care about.
So how long does it typically take you to create a collection?
I mean, as long as we have. So if we have 4 days, we can create a collection in 4 days. If we have 4 months, we'll create it in 4 months. I mean, basically, the pieces never stop. Like we never stop creating a collection. And so all we do is have a stopping point where we accumulate everything and put it into, its title of whatever that collection is. But it's an evolution that never stops. And there's some things that we may slow down and say, you know what, we're not going to, we're working on these 8 gowns. We're not going to put those into this collection. We'll keep working on them for the next collection. And so it's really more of an inspiration, the things that we start connecting with and feeling passionate about.
That's crazy. You can put things together that fast.
Yeah.
I was looking online. I was doing my research about Mark Zunino online, but I saw online whose dress you did, who, Denise Richards? Was it hers? You did in 24 hours?
Yeah.
That's, oh my gosh.
And what was wonderful with that is she's so nice and easygoing. And I've known her forever. And then I know her husband, and they're so chill. They're such Malibu people. They're just so relaxed that I'm like, we got this. Because she is not a diva. Like no matter what, even had I done it, I think had she not even really liked it, she'd be like, okay, I'm wearing it. We're good.
Oh, that's good.
She's just super, super easy. So that's what made it fun. What got me defensive about it was after we did it, because she wanted to get on the back of his motorcycle, and that's how she was leaving after the ceremony and all that. So that's why we did a romper and the overskirt and whatever.
Yes.
Well, some people, everybody has an opinion, so they wanted to chime in because of her age. I don't know, how old is she?
I think she's in her 40s.
So they were like, well, isn't she a little, old to be having such a short skirt? Well, it was shorts. It was a romper, and it's what she wanted. So
And she looked amazing. So good
Yes,
for her for being in her 40s and
I
wearing
saw
that.
that too. I saw online that they were like, well, Mark Zunino's snapping back at the haters. I'm like, good for him.
Totally, because I'm like, it's not your dress.
Exactly.
And then you don't, buy one that looks like this for your wedding.
Exactly.
But it's hers, and that's because that's one of my just idiosyncrasies with brides. Get what you want. You listen to your mom, or she may be paying for it or whatever, but it's your dress, and this is your body, and it's your vision. And I don't think anybody should rain on that parade.
No, not at all. I don't think that people really have the right to talk. If we're going to, I can see the room with the red carpets more so because that's just a whole, like that's a genre of television is critiquing red carpets, you know? But in terms of somebody's wedding, like who are you to tell somebody what they get married in,
and then who they are. Like that's my thing when I first meet a bride. I usually don't know them. So I'm like, they're like, what do you see me in? Tell me about yourself. Are you a chill beach person? Are you super formal cathedral? Like what is your dream wedding? Tell me about that. And then we start learning about them. We may take a left turn and create something that they never even thought of that ends up being perfect. Or a lot of the girls, I think, have a vision of what they want. Yeah. And usually don't stray. And those are the girls that I think I really like working with too, because they are very headstrong. They're secure. And definitely I think our brides have to be secure because we are we're not so mainstream. We're, kind of more fashion forward. We're a little more unique. And that's where it takes a bride that's confident. She knows what she wants. She's not listening to 18 of her friends design her dress by committee. She knows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say your favorite piece that you've done so far in your career? Do you have one? You're like all of them.
I mean, I really don't, because it's always changing for me. And, there are some brides that we've done that I thought, the dress is okay, whatever. But then I see the photographs of their wedding, and I realized that, we nailed it to what she had, the vision she had in her head. And when it comes through their energy and just their happiness, and I mean, it just makes, photographs leap off the page when you see it. And so that's where, there are brides that I'll not even remember, and I'll say to Breanna, "Oh my God, look at her!" And she'll be like, "That's our bride from whatever." But I'm like, I don't remember her looking like this. And she's like, "Well, no, she wasn't all pulled together, but look." And I'm like, "Oh my God, they're staggering, don't you think?"
Oh yeah, I always have to remind you who people are.
I mean, I see so many people that I do recognize. I must know them.
Yeah, you definitely recognize faces. Which is
I'm
good.
horrible with names.
But
It's
I'll
hard.
answer
To hey you, hey, you don't need to know my name either. It's okay.
It's hard. There's so much. There's so much. I feel like honestly, sometimes it's better if you can see somebody's face and you're like, I do know you.
Yeah,
like I am so sorry, but I do know you. But it is crazy how brides. You see them in the store and you're like, oh my gosh, you look so great in this. And then you see them on your wedding day, you're like, oh my gosh, you look so great in this. Know, it's a complete flip.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see.
It is. I love that process.
Yeah.
I think it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And I love to see when their fiance just like whatever, ear to ear grin, or they start
Oh,
crying.
I
Or
know.
they see them, I'm like, oh, that's fantastic.
That always sends me. I love that. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's love.
Love. So what was the first piece that you created? Like that you went through the whole process with?
Well, the first notable thing that I think I ever did that actually had my name on it. I was working with Nolan, and it's how my label got created. Things were progressing, and I designed a collection that Nolan really hated it. And so I'm like, but I believe in it. And he's like, no, my name will not go on this. And he said, you believe in it, you put your name on it. So I did. So I designed a more conservative collection for him. And then I had my collection. And Sophia Loren came in, she flew in. It was for the Oscars. And so we had the 2 racks of clothes, and Nolan said, just let her walk in and see which rack she goes to. And so she went over to my new rack and picked out a dress. And it was a dress that was, it just had one sheer layer of chiffon. So you could see her legs, everything through it. And it had a lace over nude mini skirt, little strapless mini dress underneath. But it was just the beginning of sheer, things being sheer like that. And Nolan was just like, Sophia said, this is what I'm going to wear. And Nolan said, you can see your legs right through it. It's like, you didn't put a slip on. And she was like, what's wrong with my legs? And then also being European, she's used to pushing the envelope, and her body looked amazing. And so she wore that dress, and Never kept saying, who are you wearing? And she would say Mark Zunino, because Nolan said, do not mention my name. And so I was like, okay, tell him my name. And so that's really what launched my label way back when. And Sophia was the first one.
Wow. That's so cool that he let you do that too.
I know, looking back on it. But that's also like with, everybody, all my young staff of amazing people too. Like there's room for everybody. And as you get older, you need to make sure you're not stuck. And the good thing is I have a lifetime of experience of what's worked and what's not. I know where to relax and let things kind of form on their own. And then I know also when to pull things back, because I've gotten in trouble by letting things go too far, too fast. And so that's where, with the team we have, it's really exciting, especially right now with the economy and the virus and everything that's happening. These are new times, and we're baking all kinds of new ideas, and half aren't going to work, half are. So let's see, because it is exciting. We're trying all kinds of new stuff.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So what, in terms of your brides, how do you want them to feel when they're in your gowns?
I mean, I seriously, just confident and beautiful. And it kind of sounds hokey, but a girl will put on a dress, and even if I look okay, but she still has an area on her body that she doesn't think is accentuated properly, or she feels insecure. And I think when a girl puts on, a dress and actually is like, oh my God, I look good. Like I really look good. And you see that, that's the most rewarding thing is confidence.
Yes, 100%.
Because I think without the confidence, that's like too, like we can put someone in a dress that we think is amazing and they can get a ton of compliments. But if they don't feel like them in that dress, it's going to be awkward. They have to feel, this is me.
Yes.
This is who I am.
Yes. And I feel like you can't stress that enough. Like truly, when a bride feels good, they look so good.
Yeah.
Like
it just clicks.
It doesn't matter if people don't like the dress. Like when your happiness really does shine through. And it sounds kind of cheesy and corny.
But it's so true.
It's so true. And you think like day to day in your life, you put on just a regular outfit. You're going to go to dinner, you put on a regular outfit, and you're doing whatever and you're getting ready. If you feel like, the whole night you're like, I'm not having a good time.
So and we joke all the time because I live in t-shirt and jeans and whatever, but I have certain t-shirts that I feel better. The sleeve's a little tighter, it hugs your chest a little more. It's a little looser around my belly. It's, whatever. I just feel better in certain pair of jeans and a certain t-shirt. So we all have those items in our wardrobe that we know we feel good in it.
Yes.
And that's, I think that's the key to everybody. And when you're, creating your wardrobe, focus on pieces that you feel good in.
Yes.
And you can build a really nice, tight, good looking wardrobe that way and develop your own sense of style.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of on that note, what are some pieces that you guys wear day to day that you have to have?
I have to wear high heels.
Literally.
I live in my heels, and when I drive, I take one shoe off and keep the other one on, just so I'm ready to pop out of the car for whatever.
Exactly. And you'll never, if she has no shoes on, she'll walk on her toes.
I don't know about that.
No,
She's committed.
Anyone, she loves high heels.
Wow.
What about you?
I don't like high heels. It's too hard to walk. But,
Not my preferred choice.
Like I said, I'm t-shirt and jeans, and I'm super relaxed always. And the funny thing is, even like when we have black tie events, whatever, I'll step it up a little, but I'm still, dressed down to most because, like I tell everybody, no one's there to see me. They're there to see everyone else that we made clothes for. And I like that. I don't think I like a bunch of attention. I'm not a look at me kind of person. I'm a, hey, look at them.
Yeah.
Look what we did for them,
Yeah.
I actually think too, that is why I've done what I've done for so long, because my happiness comes from making other people happy. So and Breanna's that way too.
Yeah, I am. That's where we get along.
That's how you're in the right spot too. It's not ever the me show when you're doing what you love,
Yeah.
So
time flies by.
It does. Let me tell you. So we're going to do like some fun questions, but before we get into some fun, all the questions are fun, but we're going to do like a little round of questions that we ask all of the guests. But before we get into that, I want to talk about career highlights. What are some career highlights for you where you were like, this is so cool?
Go ahead.
No, I think this is more.
It's, there have been clients or girls that just don't feel good about themselves. And whether it's their weight, whether it's whatever, and they literally, some girls are like, I'm getting married, but I wanted to lose, 200 pounds and I just wasn't able to. And I'm like, so you reaffirm that they are beautiful. You're going to be beautiful. And so there are 3 clients that we completely turned around, which we created a happiness in them that is the most, just intoxicating feeling ever, because here's somebody that basically almost had a crushed spirit and you made them just soar and feel amazing. So that's wonderful. Celebrity wise, like I'm always amazed where like we had just moved into a new atelier and the doorbell rang the day that we had movers moving, and it was Julia Roberts, and I hadn't dressed her before. And
Stop.
I'm like, hey, and she's like, hey, and she's like, I need a dress made because she was shooting the L'Oreal commercial and it had to be couture, and she hated the dresses they had made, but she said, we're shooting, so I'd like, you need to make me some dresses by tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. And it just happened, and she was so sweet, and it, so those spontaneous things like that, always kind of thrill me. And we had one day, I had all, mannequins in the windows. We primarily do women's clothing. And I saw all these huge guys come into the back door, because we never have a front entrance. We always private entrance in the back. And there are all these big guys. So I thought, oh my God, because I work a lot with Mindy Weiss, who's an event planner. And Mindy, I do a lot of NBA, NFL people through her. So I thought this must be one of Mindy's group, because it's all these like basketball players or something. Well, it was all security. And I looked down, and it was for Prince. And Prince is like, hey, there's a suit in the window. And I'm like, okay, but these are all women's clothes. And he looked at me and he's like, I don't care. And so I was like, okay. And then we're running around bumping into each other. Prince is here.
Oh
and
my
so,
God.
stuff like that. And there's a Beyonce story too, how Beyonce came to me. It was a fluke, and I didn't believe everybody, so I didn't come into work in the morning.
Goodness.
And I left her sitting there by herself for 2 hours, and I came back.
She waited. She waited.
Because I thought they were lying to me. Because I was in New York, and I did an interview, and they said, who haven't you dressed that you want to? I'm like, oh, Beyonce. And the next day I'm back in LA, and they're like, Beyonce's here. And I'm like, shut up. Everyone's going to tease me now forever. And I didn't go. As I pulled into the parking lot again, I saw these big guys in the parking lot, and I go inside of the atelier, and I see more big guys, and I look over, and Beyonce's like, hi, I've been waiting for you. And I'm like, oh my God.
My gosh.
I know. And I apologized, and she was amazing. And she stayed like another 2 hours, and we just like ordered a bunch of clothes, and I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Amazing. So that was the introduction to her. That was fabulous. So those things are always like, blow my mind.
I cannot believe you made Beyonce wait.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh. I mean, but that's amazing that just pulling into work, you're just like another day,
Seriously. So, when you're saying like no 2 days are ever alike for us. Ever.
Wow.
So, and again, just be flexible, roll with it. Yeah. But Breanna's been amazing at being flexible continually.
Thank you.
And basically she literally works 24/7.
Yes, I do.
I know. I call, and I know she must be like, what the hell is he calling me?
11 o'clock at night, he's like, I had a thought. And I'm like, okay. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay. Okay, cool. So let's get into these little questions. So both of you, I'm curious to hear your answers to these. So the first one is, if you had an autobiography, what would you title it and why?
Go ahead, you first. If I had an autobiography, it would be called How to Be Practical and Fabulous at the Same Time.
She never lets go of fabulous.
No. I emphasize fabulous, but I always learn to think logically with everything that I do.
Yeah, that is totally true.
Love that. Yeah.
She's the part of my brain that I don't have. So.
Well, we know she's always doing fabulous if she's always in heels.
And literally, for me, it would probably be crapshoot, because I fly by the seat of my pants and just see what sticks to the wall always. And if somebody tells me no, like you can't do that or it's never been done, then I will do it that way. I will make sure that it works.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so this one, what are 3 things you can't live without?
Oh my goodness. No, you go first. I have to think about this.
Well, I already know 2 of your things.
Oh, okay, you tell me what you've observed about
your
me.
high heels.
Yes.
Your eyelashes.
Yes.
And
hairspray.
And she's good. After that, she's good.
I'm ready for the day.
Perfect.
She can make an outfit out of a pillowcase and a piece of rope, belt it, whatever.
Yeah.
But
as long as my hair looks good, we're fine.
So we're finding Breanna on an island with high heels, hairspray, and eyelashes. Yep. She'll be set.
What about you?
And so the question is, what about the 3 things?
3 things you can't live without.
Well, this is really corny, but Truman, my dog.
Yes.
My entire life.
Uh-huh.
and being at a convertible, being in the car with the top down with my dog driving fixes anything. Anything. And
me.
and as long as Breanna is a phone call away, I'm good. So those are my three things.
Brianna, Truman, and your convertible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a cute answer.
Thank you for saying that, even though I fed you that answer.
She knows it's true. Because even with her false eyelashes and her hairspray, she always insists on the top being down.
Yeah, I love it.
And Truman, too, my dog, when he gets in the car, the first thing he does is paw to take the top down.
Oh my
He hates the top down.
gosh.
Hates it.
Oh my gosh, how cute.
Snow and all. We'll be driving up in the mountains. It'll start snowing. That top's got to be up down.
Wow. That's so cute. Okay. So this one is, what is your advice to current and future brides?
Try everything on and just be patient during this crazy time we have, because sooner or later it will all be a new normal and we can all go on living in a new beautiful way.
Yeah, that's good. I think, just enter whatever with an open mind. And kind of like when Breanna was saying about try everything on, so many times, again, people telling me no, when a bride says, oh, I can't wear that. You can. You just haven't. So no one has shown you how to do it the right way. So, and so that's where I'm always try everything on. Some girls think, oh, I have to wear a ball gown. I have big hips or I have whatever. No, you don't. And when you can convince those girls that you can be all snug in a nice little, fitted gown, they're like, oh my God, look at my body. So yeah, I think the most important thing for every bride is to try everything on, every silhouette, every different style.
Yeah. Okay. Great answers, guys. So before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to tell all of our brides about? Anything you have going on?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we just launched an online shop, markzuninoshop.com.
Yes.
We have our fabulous designer and luxury masks going on.
Love that.
But Mark recently designed a fabulous loungewear collection. So we'll be rolling out some fabulously affordable robes, hopefully within the next month or so. And we're very excited to bring Mark Zunino to the everyday consumer.
Yeah. So
Wow.
the prices are going to be affordable. And the amazing thing is that we're doing, for a little insight that'll probably get kicked by Breanna, but the amazing thing with a lot of these, we have such vast inventory of fabrics that we're, like these kimonos we're making, and they're going to retail for what?
Approximately between $100 and $300.
Okay.
And in some of them, the fabrics that we're using are like $800 a yard. So for that price, you're getting something phenomenal.
Wow.
Because we have so much inventory.
Yes.
So I said, let's just get rid of it.
Yeah.
And let's let everybody have a little bit of luxury that they normally couldn't.
Oh.
So I'm really excited about this.
That sounds
And these are like, kimonos that you could either, wear in the morning when you're having coffee, or you could wear it to yoga class, or you could wear it with jeans and a tank, or, dress it up, dress it down, just have fun. But the fabrics are amazing. And that's what we got. We actually had the inspiration from the mask, because we were using all our high-end luxury fabrics for the masks. And everybody was like, oh my God, this fabric is amazing. And so now we're able to put it into something that they can actually wear on their body. So
That's
really
so exciting. So you said that's in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, in about a month. Oh, okay.
Just in time for the holiday season.
Yes, wink, wink. So everybody can put that on their wish list. Yes. And then, of course, you will be here. This is airing on Friday, the 24th, 23rd, 24th, 25th. I know dates. So you will be here this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, with your collection.
Yeah.
Exciting.
And we're really excited about that, because we love everybody here.
Yes.
And everyone just has a good time. So come on down, try some dresses on.
Yes.
And let's all have a good little party.
Yes, we're super excited. The dresses are beautiful, and really about the construction, especially any bride that's looking for good construction in a dress.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to just put on a Mark Zunino.
I mean, fit is everything.
Yes.
That's the thing. Truly, things have to fit properly, and we're here to help you with it. So.
Yes. Yay. Okay. Well, Well, thank you guys so much. It was
Pleasure.
super fun chatting with you guys. So, okay.
Okay.
We're all done.
Sounds good.
Great.